WesWes, y'all.
Okay, so welcome to our podcast. I'm Tom, and this is Sarah. Our podcast, hey. Our podcast is called the PASIFIKA BYTES. So before we, keep going on and move on to, what's this podcast is about, and then what is actually going to happen in this first sort of initial podcast, just going to quickly introduce ourselves. So Sarah, I'll let you go first. So you can just say like your name, age, ethnicity, where you live, and where you're working right now or where you're studying.
Sweet. So hi everyone. My name is Sarah, and my ethnicity is Tongan, and I currently live in Auckland. I previously lived in Hamilton, but back in Auckland. And the industry that I currently work in is cybersecurity.
Nice.
I've only been in probably like 9 months or so.
9 months. Oh,
pretty
true,
much
true.
new, so still a lot to learn.
Where were you before you jumped into cybersecurity? Were you working in IT in general?
Oh yeah. So I worked for like a small to medium business in Hamilton.
Oh, nice.
It was like a manufacturing, like engineering place. So I did like service desk, for like I think 3-4 months before moving back to Auckland.
True.
Yeah.
Oh, true. No, that's cool. That's cool. And you're enjoying I know it's still quite early, but you're enjoying your move into cybersecurity and even your move to Auckland.
Yeah. So I've always wanted to be in like the cyberspace. It was either networking or cyber, but I think I'm more interested in the cyber
side
space. Yeah. And what was the other question?
and even Auckland, like Auckland in general, you're enjoying your time in Auckland?
Yeah, so being back in Auckland, I missed a lot of family because Hamilton, I didn't have any family and not many people there, to be honest.
And in Hamilton?
Yeah.
True.
So it's good to be back.
Yeah. Okay, no, that's cool. That's cool. Well, welcome to the podcast, and it's awesome to know that I have a great co-host like you as well on here, and it's also really good to see our PASIFIKA sisters starting to enter the industry because there's already not that many of us. So it's even worse for the population of PASIFIKA women that are in tech. So it's really good to see you in there, and thank you for hopping on the podcast.
Sweet, thank you.
Yeah, so I guess I'll introduce myself. So my name's Tom. I'm 27. I'm Samoan. I'm currently living in Melbourne, but I'm originally from Wellington. But I was born in Samoa, so it's kind of weird.
Oh,
but
true.
So I was born in Samoa before I moved to New Zealand. And okay, I think I'm only 2 months into moving to Melbourne, which has been awesome so far. It's quite similar to Wellington in a lot of aspects. And industry I work in, funnily enough, cybersecurity as well. So, Sarah and I will have a lot of topics that we'll be covering that are, that we're quite interested in, and because of the industry that we work in, there's sort of good experiences that we can bring in general. I'm guessing everyone's probably seeing all the the hacking stuff that's been going on across the world. So it's good to have Sarah and I, and hopefully some of the guests that we bring on, they can bring some more, information and knowledge that, you guys can learn off them. So yeah. And I think that probably, that's me. That's Sarah. So I think probably good now to move on to our next section of the podcast, which is probably just to introduce what the podcast is about.
Yeah.
And the mission that we have, and why we're doing it, and how the podcasts are going to run, and yeah. So I think probably the best way to introduce that topic would be to first talk about the mission of the podcast. So Sarah, kind of putting you on the spot here. What?
Thanks.
What do you think the mission or the purpose of this Pasifika podcast would be? And by the way, sorry, I didn't introduce the name, but the name of the podcast is called Pasifika BYTES. And yeah, sorry, on to you, Sarah.
Thank you, Tom. So the mission of this podcast is to shine a light on our PASIFIKA professionals, so that are currently making waves in the tech and IT space.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be featuring a lot of different seasoned experts and different emerging talents, and just showing their different insights on their journeys and where they came from, stuff like that. So
no, that's cool. That's cool, Les. And I think just to further add on and further talk about the mission of the podcast, and goes back to what we were talking about before around there's not that many of us in the IT industry. I don't know about you, Sarah, but every IT team that I've been in, I have not met that many other. I've met one or two Pacific Islanders in that space or in that team or wider team. What about you? Have you found that sort of the case?
Yeah, definitely. I'm the same. Just pretty much the only Pasifika person on that floor.
Yeah, and that floor. Oh, true. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I guess that's the same sort of experience I've had too. Yeah.
Never.
How has that sort of made you sort of feel? Do you feel comfortable?
At first, to be honest, not really. But I think once you get the hang of the thing, people, the tools and stuff.
Yep.
And just knowing that you deserve to be there, not you know what I mean? You just end up being more confident in yourself, and I just can't wait for the day that there is more Pasifika people, and because it would be nice.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of truth in there. It would be nice, if there were more Pacific Islanders within the tech industry, and it's a really nice industry to be in as well. There's a lot of benefits, especially around the work life and the work from home sort of arrangements that you can have and that sort of stuff. And then obviously the most important thing is the pay. The pay is quite high. So yeah. And yeah, no, I mean that's there's a lot of truth to your experience and my experience about not that many Pacific Islanders being in the industry, and that's because I think we only make up 2.8% of the IT workforce, so that's all Pacifica people, which is crazy. Yeah, that's crazy.
Crazy.
I think there's 680,000 Pacific Islander people in New Zealand, and in the IT workforce, only 2.8%. and that's it's not a great statistic, but I, I'm starting to see more Pacific Islanders coming through. Though I am starting to
Yeah,
see that little push, and there's great little initiatives from different people. I think that there's Itaroa and her
yeah,
um,
fiber fiber.
yeah, Fiber Fale, which is a really awesome. That they run their own podcast as well, so that's really cool. And then
Yeah,
obviously, you and I are involved in the Pacifica Tech Network as well, which is another sort of like collection of Pacifica IT professionals and tech professionals and stuff. So yeah, no, that's yeah. So that's probably one of the other things to take note of is just the low participation rate of Pacifica peoples inside of IT workforce. And yeah, like the idea as well is to also bring in uh, professionals as well as newcomers.
yeah.
Um, like, yeah, how do you feel about that sort of idea of bringing both sort of types of guests? I'd say.
Yeah, I think it brings like a fresh kind of like perspective to things because like a lot of people experience things differently.
Hmm.
So it'd be interesting to hear like, um both so the newcomers and seasoned professionals. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be good to get both sides of the story. So someone who's completely new and someone who's a professional who's been there for a while. It'll be good to get their journeys. So either people listening can get an idea of where to start,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
how things are very early on. So and how things are looking in the industry. As of now, or like currently when they're speaking and stuff. So yeah, no, that's true, and probably another thing that leads on is sort of um, the I wouldn't say it's the mission, but it's sort of I guess a after effect of the podcast, which is to um, encourage young Pacific Islanders, and not even just young, even older Pacific Islanders to jump into the
Like
industry
yeah,
and show them that there's different ways of jumping into tech. It's not just one standard
yeah.
pathway. Um, yeah, like how did you find your sort of like? Did you find jumping into the because were you always in the IT industry ever since you started working?
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
So came from like um so I was doing like security, so like security guard.
Oh,
Um
yo.
yeah, so just like kind of working at like concerts and stuff.
Yeah.
So kind of just being like, oh hey, can I check your ID? Stuff like that. Yeah. Um
True. And
it's
then
very
yeah,
different.
so you worked so security how long how long was that for?
Um how long did I do it? I think it was like a year, or
Mhm.
maybe. Yeah, I think because like to be honest, my partner, now husband, was worried like about the places that I worked.
Oh, true.
Yeah, it was like I'm not gonna name the company I worked for, but the places were like really dodgy.
Mhm.
Um so I wouldn't recommend that for um our Pasifika people, especially women.
Yeah, yeah, especially.
Yeah.
Like was there any like sort of club bouncing or like
Oh no,
nah,
definitely
never?
not.
Okay, good, because that's probably where, it's really, really dangerous. So no,
Yeah.
no,
Not
that's
like
cool.
yeah, outside like hang or like houses
Yep.
or like yeah,
True.
or flats or yeah.
So so the jump to something else or IT was your husband sort of being scared of the industry that you're working with in.
No, I've always had the interest of being in IT.
Oh, nice.
So,
Yep.
because when I was younger, my brother was studying in IT, but he
True.
dropped out,
Yep.
and then I kind of was like, "Oh, cool. What are you studying?" And then I was just like, I was
Oh, okay. So
always
that, and then
interested in
that's sort of where it drew your interest
yeah
in
when I
IT.
was
So,
younger.
I mean, that's the thing. Like we, kind of just introduced in was, giving an example to someone out there around, someone that's in the IT industry, just so
Yeah,
like either gets them interested or motivated. Because that's what right. You had someone who was in the IT industry. I had like it was kind of the same for me. I had someone who was also in the IT industry as well, and I kind of just got hooked on it too.
yeah.
And yeah, like you study there. You're studying for
Now,
now
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Now
So
see, so that's another thing we'll bring up later is just around the whole how to get into the industry and that sort of stuff.
yeah,
That's cool. And yeah, so that's sort of the general idea of the podcast, which is to bring in guests in the IT industry, new and upcoming, and also to give listeners and people outside there like that this idea that there's actually a few of us now that are in the IT industry, and hopefully they get interested, or they see some motivation because they're like, oh, there's someone there, there's our people are there, so that's the main mission, and
mm,
that's the thing that we hope to get out to. That's what we hope that people get out of this podcast is get an interest in IT and hopefully end up joining into it.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I think that's it around sort of the mission and what we plan to do. Oh, sorry. I think one thing we skipped over is the sort of topics. So obviously we kind of, or you can kind of get a feel around it, what this podcast is going to be like, which is bringing tech savvy Pacific Islanders. But we'll go over to more like in depth subjects. So like it could be something like social engineering techniques, or like like I think a lot of us have now in the last year or so have gotten some random text from I don't know, some weird random automated message that says hey, your package it's at the airport, it's being held by customs, open this link to get this, right? And you're like,
yeah.
hey, I didn't order anything. Have you have you had that
Yes,
experience
yep.
yet? Yeah.
Pretty sure one of my siblings or someone asked me, was like, "Oh, I keep getting this like message from, but like they haven't ordered anything." Like, oh, just like report it as spam.
Ah, yeah. So see, like, those are that is what we'd call a. So I wouldn't say it's kind of hard to talk like to directly
Yeah,
pinpoint
I
what
know what you
exactly it
mean.
is,
Yeah,
without getting too pedantic about it. But it like the I guess the general term that we call that is hacking, right? Like that's what everyone calls it. Yeah,
yeah.
someone's hacking me, even though it's not
Not
really.
like yeah,
Yeah, it's not really, but everyone just assumes, just chucks it under the sort of one blanket term of if someone's doing something dodgy to you, they're hacking me. So yeah, that's the sort of stuff we'll go over is, like what's happening in the IT industry, how to get into there, what are some resources that you could have a look at, and what's hot. Like I think probably one of the like one subject that I think everyone's probably interested in, other than cybersecurity, and how to get into that sort of stuff is AI. Like that's
mm,
everywhere. Like
yeah.
how have you found your like your daily work life without someone being like, oh, have you seen this AI, or have you tried this AI or that sort of stuff? Like have you found that
Um,
much in your daily conversations?
not really. It's mainly like people, I guess, outside of the field, as weird
Oh,
as it
true.
is. Yeah, so like my dentist,
Oh, true, your dentist.
yeah, yeah, the other week was like, "Oh, so what do you do?" I was like, "Oh, I'm in cyber." security, and they're like, "Oh, cool. So, what about AI?" And I'm just like, "Oh gosh." They wanted to have a full-on conversation about AI. I'm like,
Oh,
"No, I'm
I was
here
here
to
to get
get
my teeth checked.
exactly. I don't pay you."
No, you ask about AI. No, that's true. That's true. Ah, no, that's cool. Like I
So
found,
funny.
yeah, I found in my sort of daily conversations, it's always about AI. Like, so I was like, oh, have you seen this new open
Yeah,
source AI platform, or this sort of stuff? And I'm like, oh, okay, that's great.
true. What's the latest some like latest AI thing you've heard about?
I think it's a lot around the animation and sort of video effect stuff. So like
Yeah.
I'm seeing like a lot of AI. Like there's this, I forgot what it's called, but there's this new AI software, and what it can do now is like you can like give it like a video format, right? You can give it a video, and then what you can do is like it analyzes the video, and then it can pick out like people and that sort of stuff. And then what you can do is you can pick those people, and then you can easily just swap them out with some random 3D character, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
pretty good. It's really good, and you're like, oh snap! Like it's really, yeah, it's really really good. Like you can see just a little bit of artifacts from them chucking inside, but other than that, it's really good. So like the rate of where
True.
AI is hitting, like and where it will get to in less than a year, I reckon, it'll be super crazy. So yeah, I mean that's sort of the topics that Sarah and I will cover along with our guests. So we'll hit them up. We'll talk about those sort of subjects and what's hard and that sort of stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And that's going to be the podcast. So, but for this particular one, Sierra, what did you like this first podcast? What do you think? Like, or what was the purpose of this podcast? This first one, this first initial one.
So it's just mainly to talk about our mission and um each other's backgrounds. So maybe just introducing ourselves, our mission, and um what we hope to do with our PASIFIKA community.
Nah, that's
Yeah.
true. That's exactly what we were hoping to do with this sort of first initial podcast. It is not even like, I wouldn't even say this is the actual thing. This is more just like an introduction.
Yeah, pretty
Um,
much.
yeah. So, and then an introduction to the podcast and an introduction to ourselves, because I think it's awesome for people to understand who you and I, who we are as people, our experiences, and how we got into tech as well. So then, um, they can, get some sort of interest or inspiration, maybe, but also so that they know that we're in the tech industry and we know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess like probably the next thing is to sort of look like go in depth into who we are. So give a further introduction, further sort of introduction or um sort of story of who we are. So I'm gonna ask you a few questions, Sarah. So
Okay.
hopefully you're ready. Um,
Definitely.
yeah, so yeah, no, where like you said you were from Hamilton initially. Did you always grow up in Hamilton?
Nah, so I was born and raised in Auckland and
Oh,
then
yep,
shifted to Hamilton, I think like 2020. Yeah,
2020.
2020.
Oh, okay.
I think, yeah, like just before, I think like the COVID thing. Yeah, pretty sure.
Oh, true.
Um, yeah, so my partner at the time got a job in Hamilton
Hmm.
and I decided to go because I was like, oh, Hamilton. and yeah, something different. And yeah, and then now we're back in Auckland, so yeah,
Yeah.
good to be back.
No, that's good. That's good. And I think you touched on it before in like, sort of your early experiences with tech. I think you mentioned your brother. Were there any other sort of examples of where you had a run in with tech, or did you study it in high school or anything like that?
I think just yeah, mainly watching my brother, I guess, because like he was always the administrator for our home PC.
Oh,
So
true. Oh, true.
yeah, and I was like, wait, why does he get admin and I am just a guest?
Oh,
So
true.
yeah, it started from that, and yeah,
Okay. Well, that's pretty cool. So, that's the main sort of run-in that you had, like with tech. Did you like?
yeah.
I know this is not really tech related, but it is in some ways because a lot of us who are in the tech actually partake in this sort of activity. And did you game a lot, or
Um, yeah, actually, yeah.
yeah?
I eventually became admin, and so
Ah,
I kicked
you
my
got it.
brother. Yeah, and yeah, he just came one day and was like, "Wait, what?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, you don't have any access." I was like, probably an intermediate. Yeah, I was sorry, might be.
True, true. No, that's cool. That's cool. Um, so yeah, so I'm guessing so. As sort of growing up, and when did you first get into tech? Like when what and like if you were to put your sort of current IT or tech related tech sort of career together, was it when did you first sort of get into tech? Like if you were to put that in the timeline.
Like professionally,
Yeah, professionally.
probably like last year.
Oh,
So
last year. So you're fairly
yeah,
new. Oh,
yeah, pretty
true.
much.
Oh, so you. Oh
Um,
no, that's cool. That's cool.
so yeah, very new. Got a lot to learn. Yeah,
So you're studying now, but before you got into the tech professionally, like tech industry professionally, did you study? Did you take any sort of course or anything like that before you first got in?
yeah. So I just did a level 5
Hmm.
diploma. Yeah, diploma in like information technology, and yeah, and then got like a service stage job,
Hmm.
and then got the the internship. Um, and yeah, so it's kind of like, yeah, I'm still very new, but it happened all so fast. Like,
Yeah,
went from like, okay, studying to, okay, real life job, and then another field. So,
yeah.
yeah,
That's crazy. Like that. Like that. That's a pretty crazy. Like 1 year of normal. I would say I would consider it, sort of normal IT, and then jumping into like a specialized IT field like cybersecurity. That's pretty like that's a crazy amount of
yeah,
progress to make. So good on you for doing that, and it's good to see
thank
that
you.
you took you took some sort of study before you jumped into IT in general. And so what you're currently studying right now is different. It's more related to cybersecurity, right? So where you're
Yeah,
currently working as well, or in your internship.
yeah, pretty much. It's more related to, yeah, cybersecurity. So it has like a course about ethical hacking, and then
Mhm.
like stuff about what is it, cybersecurity management, and yeah, a lot of hands-on Linux stuff,
Oh, that's
which
cool. So like
is pretty
working with
cool.
Kali, Kali.
Yeah, Kali Linux, and Debian or whatever. Yeah. And yeah,
No,
doing pretty
that's
good.
cool. That's cool as. And like, how did you? Because when I first started to, I'm kind of spoiling here, but I also was in service desk as well. How did you find that? How did you find that role?
Oh man, you know all those memes that you see
Yep.
about? Yeah, just anyone go search up those memes about service desk or whatever. That's how I feel about
Yeah. You get like a collection of different, like a variety of people that work in service desk.
Yeah,
Like you get
yeah,
some people on different sides of the spectrum. Like
yeah.
you
Multiple spectrums.
get multiple spectrums too. So yeah, nah. And man, like I have a like. Have you found since leaving service desk when you call up service desk or because as a cybersecurity person, you'll probably find that you have to work.
Yeah, yeah,
Probably maybe not now, but depending on position, you will have to work with the service desk team.
yeah,
Like, do you sort of take things a little bit easier with them, or you're not as pushy because you understand the challenges that those guys go through?
yeah. Yeah, I'm more empathetic, I guess.
Hmm.
Before, I guess maybe I would have been a bit more pushy. Yeah, pushy.
Hmm.
But putting myself in the shoes is like, oh man, like, yeah, I fully understand. Like, it's okay. No need to rush.
Yeah, no, that's cool. And like, uh, obviously, did you face any challenges in that role or in that job?
Um, yeah, to be honest,
Mhm.
um, I don't know if I can like share on here
No,
now.
I mean, it's like if it's if there's a potential problem for you to get in trouble, that's okay. You can just say
Yeah,
there were challenges
I feel
because
like
I'd probably say the same thing too.
um, yeah, I think it's um it's a great job to like get your foot in the door kind of thing, like
Mhm.
to start off in IT.
Yep,
Um, yeah, I wouldn't say for anyone to stay there um like for long, just because like um yeah, like
it's not the greatest day.
yeah, it's not the
Yeah,
greatest. I don't
yeah,
wish that on anyone.
100% agree with you on that one. It's a good foot through the door.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, no, good on you for getting out of there and specializing in the field that you're currently right now. And then yeah, that probably brings on to the next part, which is like outside of your role and stuff. Is there any sort of hobbies that you do? Like it could be tech related, could not be. And like yeah, if you're passionate about it, um,
Um,
yeah.
so I used to game, but not anymore. So um I think my current hobby would be, I guess, going for drives and probably babysitting. Is that one? Babysitting my nieces and nephews.
Yeah, no, that's a good. Like family. May not be
Yeah,
like a full on hobby, but it's something you love doing, right?
yeah.
Oh, it's cool. Like, do you feel like is there any of your hobbies that you feel like complement your career, or any sort of things that you do in your hobby? Whether it's for example, looking after your nieces and nephews and stuff. Does that give you sort of the skills to handle people? Because sometimes, like, s- you've probably noticed is that some people they're really good, like they're technically gifted, but when it comes to handling people,
Yeah.
and like especially younger people, they don't know how to do that, and they just end up pooping the bag. Like, how have you found many examples of that, or do you feel like there's any skills that you think have been transferable to your current position?
Um yeah, I'd say so. A lot of soft skills. just because, babies. Oh, some adults remind me of babies, and so um, kind
Yeah.
of have to be like patient, like, and yeah, just being really empathetic. But
That's very true.
yeah,
No, that's true. I found that as well, is that you have to be very patient. Because in the IT and people who jump into it, and maybe our future guests can probably talk about it more, because some of them will probably have things like they have more management experience, so they've managed people in the IT industry, so they
yeah,
probably can give a better spiel about what happens there. But man, I've like some people I know or I've worked with, they only know how to talk to computers. And when it comes to handling people,
true.
like, oh, bro, what are you up to? Like, you just see them start getting angry or defensive straight away, and then you can't talk to them. Hey, no, they weren't
Yeah,
attacking you, or they weren't, doing, and it's just like, hey, just relax a little bit, just little things like that. Like I've noticed it a lot. So if that's one thing for people to be wary of when they jump into the industry is just don't be all guy, or it's not
yeah.
really that great if you got a short temper. So yeah, no, that's cool. In terms of goals and where you see yourself, um, in the future, in your career, like what are your goals, or where do you see yourself, or yeah.
Um, that's a hard one,
Mm,
I have a lot of goals, but
mhm,
I think short term would be just smashing out my diploma in cybersecurity, and yeah, obtaining some industry certs. So I've been trying to study for my SC900, but I don't know where my ADHD is just like.
mm. Yeah, that's actually a good thing that you brought up. That we can talk about in future podcasts is around certifications, because that's very important. Like, other than getting your tertiary education,
Mm.
diploma and stuff, getting those certifications really help. And yeah, no, that's cool. SC900, oof,
Have you
that's
said it?
cool. Nah, I skipped that and went straight to SC300. So I did
Oh,
that.
nice.
Yeah, because I think I did AZ900 ages ago.
Oh, yeah.
Um, and so I did AZ900, and then I jumped into cybersecurity. So,
Nice,
and
yeah.
like I was working in a cloud security focused role. So like I kind of not being cocky, I could kind of like just skip the sort of SC900,
Yeah.
only because I was doing every day. It was just a constant grind on different people's tenant and stuff. So
True,
yeah,
yeah.
I
Makes
was very
sense.
lucky. Like that helped me a lot. That role. Shout outs to ZX Security. Um, they're an
Oh,
awesome place to
true.
work at.
Nice.
And so yeah, that's cool. Probably the last question I'm gonna ask you is, you know, you being, in the Pacific community, what are your like sort of hopes with your involvement? Whether it's within this podcast, or the work that you do inside of the Pacifica Tech Network, and that sort of stuff. Like, what's your what are your hopes for the stuff that you do? Like, do you feel like it's gonna um, inspire young Pacifica women? Or
Yeah, I hope to just, even if it's one person, um, inspire our, Pacifica people.
Mhm,
Um, just, I hope to inspire just by, doing the mahi, and um, just like, I don't know, just, just being part of the Pacifica Tech Network. also has helped me a lot. So I hope other people can jump on board and see the cool stuff that our people, are doing and contributing to. Because there's a lot of talent out there. It's just, I think a lot of our people kind of scared, like, because I've been there.
Mhm.
Before joining the meeting, I was really scared. Like, took me ages to join. Like, my husband was like, "Oh, when are you gonna join?" This was last year. He joined before me, and I was like, excuse me." And but I'm glad I joined because um, a lot of people in there helped a lot, like with my journey. So yeah. Okay, I'm gonna stop now because it's gonna make me cry.
Oh no, that's cool. That's cool. We can move on to the next part, which is obviously sort of my introduction and
Yeah.
who I am. So I'll let you uh I'll let you run this one.
Okay. Cool. Um. So Tom, where did you grow up, and how did you think those early experiences have contributed to your relationship with tech?
Um, I grew up in Wellington. So I moved to New Zealand from Samoa when I was about 3. So I was very very young. Um, and I feel like there's my sort of my heritage has helped me a lot in the current industry I'm in right now, especially around things like learning how to um, talk with people because I found with Pacifica or Samoan culture in general, there's a lot of respect towards elders or people with a sort of higher status.
Yeah.
So when they're talking, you kind of just sit back and listen, and I feel like I've um, you sit back, you listen, and you analyze, and then you start talking. So I felt like that's definitely helped me with tech. Um, yeah.
Cool. Um. So how did you get into tech? Did you pursue
Yeah, I got
formal education
Mhm.
or? Yeah. Sorry. Continue.
No, yeah, that's fine, man. So yeah, like how I got into tech. So it kind of started back in high school. So very early on. I think it was about year 10.
Oh, cool.
Um, so it was about year 10. I got really into computers. Parents bought a new computer. Luckily, I was the only administrator on our computer. So yeah, I had free reign to do whatever, and then
Yeah.
um, like got into like things like real weird things. I got into like Minecraft, and then after Minecraft, started doing like music
Mm.
production, all those sort of weird things. I got a really funny sort of story about how I initially first got into um, like not initially first got in the industry, but like where my interest grew up from when I was younger, and it was when it was about a year later. Um, a group of friends and I got in trouble at our library because we managed to hack the computers so we could stay on the computers for unlimited time. So
Oh my god.
we don't recommend you do that. Like that's not a good thing to do. Um, so yeah, like in terms of my actual professional career, that like so studying like after like I kind of took subjects inside of high school, and then after that I did tertiary studies. So studied, I also like you did a diploma as well, and then I moved on to university. Um, and yeah, studied IT, information systems. There was a bit of some cybersecurity courses that I took, and then jumped into and then after university, jumped into sort of a junior IT role. And yeah, that's kind of where I started.
Cool. Um. So can you tell us about your journey into the tech industry? did you have any, pivotal moments or that inspired your interests?
Yeah, so I think my journey into IT was my first sort of IT related job was while I was studying. So while I was at university, I was also working in the IT service desk
Oh,
team.
cool.
So I kind of that's where I can kind of understand the pains that you went through working in service desk. Um, and yeah, so started there, and then part time while I was studying, finished university, and then I got a sort of internship slash sort of grad role at MBIE,
Oh,
and
cool.
that's sort of where it started. Um, and then pretty much worked my way up. I was pretty much just going around the country, like going around the country, changing. Like they were moving from um, Windows 7 to Windows 10. So it was
Mm,
just replacing all the computers that couldn't use Windows 10.
yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much that. And then after that, I worked in the cloud team for about 2 years or a year and a bit, and then moved into cybersecurity in 2022, 2021.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
2021, I moved into cybersecurity. So quit my job and
Mm,
moved into cybersecurity for a small little firm called ZX Security. It's a really awesome place to work at. The people there are really cool. My boss was awesome. My colleagues were awesome. And yeah, that was a junior position. And then after that, one of the clients that we did work for, jumped into their cybersecurity team. And
cool.
yeah, and
Yeah.
then now after that, I moved in. I got hit up for a role over here in Melbourne. So this is all in Wellington. So all of the stuff was all in Wellington.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, then moved over here to Melbourne for a role that I got offered. And yeah, I'm working here now. And in terms of any sort of significant moments that ignited my interest, I would have to say that sort of earlier hacking fiasco that my
Yeah.
friends and I got into, because that was like, see, the thing is we got told off, but like nothing really bad happened. It was just that the library actually, so what happened was that the library upgraded that software that they were using, so they got like a V2 version, and then they got us in to go in and to try and break it again.
Oh,
So
true.
yeah, so we actually didn't get like in trouble. So I was like, oh, this is actually pretty cool. And then like the
Yeah.
person I was talking to was like, oh yeah, people do this for for a job sometimes, and it's called penetration testing. And then we'll bring that, like we'll talk about that more probably later on. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's sort of the moment that kind of pushed me towards IT a lot, was that getting hacking those library computers.
Nice. So besides doing that, not jokes. Beyond your professional role, do you have any tech related hobbies or interests?
um, I wouldn't like. I would say no. So like I did a lot of music production, and although that's all software, like it's a mix of software and sort of like keyboard stuff, like that's still not really tech related, I'd say. Um,
It's still pretty
and
cool though.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't say I have any tech related hobbies, but actually, I mean, I guess yes, because I do a lot of Blue Team Lab stuff as
Oh
well, which
yeah.
is really cool. So that's a really cool platform as well that you could learn. And
Sure,
that's
yeah.
probably, yeah, so you'll learn blue teaming, and then that's another subject as well that we can probably talk about later. And I think that probably our first sort of guess would be really good to bring someone in who's,
Yeah.
really good with cybersecurity, so that, we can just nerd out and, and,
Yeah.
talk about those sorts of subjects. Yeah. Other than that, not really a lot of tech related hobbies. Yeah.
Fair enough. Um so what are your goals both in tech and personal?
I think in terms of tech, or my, more my tech career. Sorry, it's probably I'd like to see myself somewhere in the sort of architecture, security architecture, sort of space. I don't think I could ever do. I don't know about you, but I don't think I'd ever be able to do management, people management. Nope,
Fair
never.
enough. Yeah.
Uh, nah, I'll just stick to doing the tech side of things and um, the more technical stuff. But I don't want to deal with people. That's not me, and that's fine. Like that's the cool thing about tech as well, right? Like
Yeah.
you can either do the real hard up technical stuff, or you can move into the sort of less technical stuff, but it's still related to the subject. And sorry, what was your other question? So it was tech career and
And personal. So personal
personal.
goals.
Oh yeah, lose weight, lose some weight because it gets hot here. Apparently, it gets hot here in Melbourne. So your boy doesn't want to be sweating when we do our podcast. You just see me with a towel, just
No, thank you.
no, no. No,
Yeah.
that's me.
Cool.
I think
So,
that
what drives you to succeed in the areas, though?
I think what drives me is like my I guess my family.
Nice. Yeah.
There's a sort of lot of like no, I wouldn't say expectation from my family, but there's a lot of like I'm one of the older cousins in my family, so it's so what drives me is to be a good example for them as well. And also to like just my immediate family, so my brothers and stuff. Uh, yeah, yeah, just to be a good role model to them, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last question.
hmm
As part of the PASIFIKA community, what are your hopes for the involvement of our PASIFIKA people in tech?
I I think I'd hope to see an increase, like a further increase of participation, or more brown people in the industry. That'd be really really nice. It's good to run into our people working in tech. Like you can kind of nerd out with them and they kind of understand you a little bit because like I think we talked about before, like people in service desk alone are sort of on the spectrum, but I feel like in general, if you're in IT, you're on the spectrum as well. Like you're sort of on your own sort of spectrum. I don't
Yeah.
know about you. I'm not speaking for you as well. I'm not saying
No,
you're on the
yeah.
spectrum, but like I know I am. Like
No, yeah,
I
I
know.
know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So I hope to see. That'd be awesome is to see more of us, because there's so many opportunities. There's a lot of money to be made, and that's me being low key, money hungry. But that's like
No, but
that's
yeah,
what
I know
gets you
what you
through life,
mean.
right?
Yeah,
You know, what feeds you? What do you buy?
exactly.
Obviously money, and then
Yeah,
obviously the lifestyle, because the lifestyle is awesome. You
yeah.
know, just rolling out of bed and jumping straight onto your computer,
I know.
uh, straight up. Oh, obviously having a shower before you jump on, but so no, yeah, no, that's yeah. I just like to see more people, or more people being interested in tech in general. So
Yeah,
this is not just for this podcast isn't just for people wanting to get into tech. It's also those who are sort of interested. People who want to listen to what's happening in the industry, and yeah.
cool.
So yeah, I think that brings us up to sort of wrapping this sort of first initial podcast off. Um. So yeah, like I think what we covered today was really good. So we covered our you know who we are, what we do, and sort of what like our careers are like and that sort of stuff, so we can introduce ourselves to the listeners and that sort of stuff, if we have any. Uh, and then I think it was really good to also give people an idea of what this podcast is about, what we're going to be covering, the sort of people that we're bringing on. There's some real, like you highlighted before, there's some great people inside of IT that are PASIFIKA people. Like we'll probably bring on as a guest, hopefully he agrees, but people like Ron, Chris, and TJ and the rest. Like there's so many people that we can bring on, and they can give their sort of experiences and what they found in the tech industry. And so, that this has been a great first initial podcast. And the normal podcast won't run like this, just because this is sort of a quick introduction of us. Like, we're not, Sarah and I won't be the ones being interviewed. We'll be the ones interviewing people. So, so thank you for listening, and look out for future podcasts. We have some good ideas of who we're going to bring on, some really, really good people. And
right.
Subscribe and donate some money. Thank you guys.
Who is your Patreon?